Hey everyone, it's Kary Oberbrunner. I have with me a fantastic gentleman, author. Man, he is in a beautiful spot. He's ready to have a huge event here right after this. But Eric Solbakken, good to see you, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Kary. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Listen, I'm so glad you did this audiobook. Folks, if you don't know, audiobook is one of the fastest growing publishing platforms. Eric's had a book out for several years. It's done incredibly well. And what I want to talk about today is basically the backstory. So, Eric, why did you feel like it was time to do the audiobook now several years after the print?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, Kary. Like I look at kind of what I really started consuming content, and for
Mm.
me, audiobooks is a fantastic way to consume content. And so I'll put the audiobook on when I'm in the truck or when I'm at the gym, and depending on how much quick I want to consume it, I can turn it up to 2 times speed. I can't read 2 times speed.
That's
I
for
can
sure.
listen to 2 times speed, right? So there was part of that, and also what I really loved about the idea that you came up with, and thank you for this, Kary. I really, really, really appreciate you, is that you said, let's do this audiobook, not as just Eric reading the book. Like it's a like typical audiobook, you just hear the person, reading the book. This is a fantastic interview between you and me about the concepts in the book, and we expand on it and go deeper into the actual process of changing the business model for the accountants. So that's for me. That's why I wanted to do it so much. And thank you again for helping me make this happen.
I
So
love it. Well, listen, it was a beautiful treat because I know that CPAs, let's face it, I mean, it's one of those professions where, by the way, we got people jumping in from all over. I'm going to ask people to tag friends. I'm going to ask them to tag. In fact, Tanisha, tag my CPA, Stephanie Jabode and Maloney and Novotny. Listen, I know CPAs, and it's one of the professions that, I mean, is it fair to say that, and I'm not joking when I say it's like suicide rate is high? I mean,
yeah.
depression, like why is this, Eric?
Well, accountants are like treated like mushrooms. We're kept in the dark and fed shit. Like to be honest here, like really, and there's not a lot of love shown to the CPA, right? Even though it's funny when you talk to business owners and you say, who's your number one trusted advisor? And they always say, oh, my CPA. And it's like, well, when was the last time you talked to them about some business advice? And they're like, I don't know. And I said, well, the
Wow.
reason why that is because the business model is flawed. And that's why accountants, they don't get they're overworked and undervalued. And so,
Mm,
no, you would be depressed too if you were overworked and undervalued. You'd be stressed and you'd be leaving the profession as well. So, for me, it's about showing love to the ones that I care about most, because I am a CPA,
yeah,
and I did it for 26 years. The
yeah.
first 18 years was complete hell, and then the last 8 years, I shifted the model over. I got my life back. So, it doesn't surprise me that that's the case, right?
But see, that's what I love about you. I think it brings credibility. There's a lot of people out there who want to write on a topic that they have zero credibility. The
Yeah.
fact that you walked this path, the fact that you were trading time for money. I'll tell you what, Eric, in the last 3 weeks, I've talked to my CPA 12 times. I'm serious. Like, why
Yeah.
did I do that? Because I'm prepping for taxes. I'm prepping for year end, money going out, money coming in, retirement. I got my finance person on with my CPA. I'm somebody who says, like you, like our mentor, who not how,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan Sullivan. I mean, I will literally pay someone to save me time and headaches.
Right.
How does your book talk about that model of creating value?
Well, you see, the interesting thing is that let's go to the core of the problem. Here's the core of the problem: is that the accountants are overworked and undervalued. That's problem number one. The reason why that is because the business model is flawed. The accounting profession has basically brainwashed accountants and firms, the whole profession, into believing what I call three lies. Okay,
Mm,
one is that their worth is equal to how many hours they work.
ooh,
So the more you work, the more value you have, because that's how they charge their clients. You charge them by the hour. So if I work for you for 2 hours, it's worth 2 hours times my charge out rate. And that's my value. That's how I create value for you, is by basically putting in time, which we know as entrepreneurs and business owners, that's not how people pay. They pay based on value.
Yes.
So if the value's here and the price is here, you pay. So if I say, if the value and the price align, then you sign. If the price is here and the value's here, you'll sign. If the price is here and the value's here, you won't sign, right? And so that's what happens, is that they get messed around with the value creation because of the model of billing by the hour, right? And then they work crazy hours because they think that makes them worth more. There's a self-worth issue here too. Like, I got another book in me. I think it's What the Hell Happened to Me, and it'll be the origin story of the CPA and why we go through and basically beat ourselves up through this model, is because something happened to us in a previous life. But anyways, we'll work on that next book. We'll work on that book next time. But so there's the first lie. Their worth is equal to how many hours they work. Second lie is that their clients are naturally price sensitive to their services. Well, clients aren't naturally price sensitive to accounting services. They're price sensitive because of the way we sell our services, the way we talk to our clients, the way we don't discuss the value that they're going to get as a result of it. We keep talking about how technically difficult it is and how many hours they're going to put in. And instantly you're thinking, how much is this going to cost me? Because the accountant's busy thinking about the input into the work, all the hours, right? And so the client becomes naturally price sensitive. And then the third lie is that, that they believe that tax time just has to suck.
Yes.
So that's the ultimate one. So what happens is the accountants are brainwashed into believing that the traditional model is the only way to go. And so what happens is that they just go through another shitty tax season. They go through another time of stress. They just get used to the fact that when they book their time, they stress out and go, oh, how am I going to bill my client for this? And then they shake when they hand the bill to the client. And the client goes, what? That much? And then internally the accountant goes, man, they don't value me. They don't trust me. They don't, it's just anxiety all over the place. And so for me, I just shifted the whole model around. And that's what the purpose of the Accountant Success Formula is telling the story of how I used to work in that same model. I believed those same three lies, but then I had a catastrophic event, shall we say, that woke me up. And so it seems that pain is the touchstone of all growth, right? And so as a result of that pain of losing my first partnership, I had to find a new model. And for me, I found a new model that gave me 3 freedoms instead of the 3 lies. And the 3 freedoms that I got, which is money, clients, and time. I made great money. I had clients that appreciated my work. I had a bunch of free time away from the office. And so if any accountants out there that are frustrated or believe that there's more for them out there, this book is for you.
So good. That's so good. So think about that for a moment. I love your analogy. I don't pay my dentist more money because it took them 4 hours to fill a cavity.
Yeah. No.
Right. Like, hey, we'll get you in the chair for 8 hours so we can charge you more. But yet that's really the lie that accounts.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you should say that, Kary, because literally I'm doing an event for dentists tonight.
Oh my
God. So I've done a collaboration with our good friend, Don Barden, and he has a program called The Perfect Plan. And we're taking the 4 planning pillars from the Accountant Success Formula and putting them together to show dentists how to create better lives for themselves. So it's interesting that you should mention about the dentist. But this is true. If you said to the dentist, well, would your clients pay you more if they had to spend twice as long in the chair? And they'd be like, no, they'd pay me double to spend half the time.
Exactly.
So you think about that with the accountants. It's like, well, if you could get the result quicker for your client and at a bigger and a faster result, they would pay you more. But that goes down another rabbit hole, which is in the book, which is most accounting firms are trying to make everything efficient. So they keep trying to go faster. I think there's a big problem with that, right? They're outsourcing to India. They're creating artificial intelligence to basically do their work. And so they're trying to do it faster because they think, oh, the clients will want it faster. They'll want this. We're a cloud-based accounting firm. If I hear another, that's our differentiating factor. We're in the cloud. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And the quicker you do something and the cheaper you do something, what does that do in an economic model, Kary? You and I know this. If your inputs are less for across an entire industry, what happens to the overall price?
So eventually they're going to be commoditized and they're going to lose their relevance. And your model, which you just shared so great when I interviewed you. It was becoming almost like a trusted confidant where it's really them helping you with the business, which is what my CPA does. There's another piece that my CPA helped me with, which was a R&D credit.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an example where entrepreneurs are watching this. Our friend Lee Richter, you've heard that name.
Yeah. I
So
know Lee.
Lee shared with me, Kary, you're writing this book on blockchain. Why don't you talk to your CPA about R&D credit?
Right.
Now, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, Eric, but like I had to bring that up. Like
Mm-hmm.
what do you think, man? Like is that an example of where a CPA could have said, "Huh, I'm going to bring that solution to Kary"?
Yes, but you see, here's the problem. They could bring you the solution, and the CPAs that work with me in the Accountant Success Formula coaching program, and what I have, and we can talk about that later about
Totally
the
tough.
solution,
Yeah.
is that you need to know more about the client.
Interesting.
But let's think about this for a second. If your client knew that you were writing the book about blockchain, and they went, "Oh, this is Kary's business model. This is how he's building it. This is one of the products that's coming out. Wait a second. He could do an R&D credit on that. She could then be, or he or she could be proactive and say, hey, here's an opportunity for some tax savings, or here's an opportunity to grow the business a little bit better." But they need to understand your business more. But here's the problem. For them to do that, they need to spend
time.
Yeah. Time working on learning about your business. But if they spend time on your business, they're going to be putting that in their work in progress, and somehow they have to bill that to you. And how am I going to, how do I give Kary a bill for 5 hours of time of finding out just what his business is all about? Kary's going to lose his mind. Like, he will be upset. And so the problem is the model is wrong. The model's skewed, so the accountant can't get to know you about what's going on. That's the problem. Okay. And the model is built. So the billable hour is the first culprit. Okay. So there's two parts with the profession. I like my heavy metal music, so you see me do this a lot. There's two issues, right? One is that there's a billable hour. That's part of the problem. And the second part is just banging out tax returns. So the accountants figure the most tax return, the accountant who does the most tax returns wins.
Wow.
Well, the billable hour model stops clients from getting advice when they need it. It also stops the accountant from getting to know you, getting to know Kary, getting to know that he's coming out with a book on blockchain to get, hey, there's an opportunity here for a tax credit. Okay. It blocks you from doing that instead of and then they just bang out the tax returns because they don't know anything about you. But in the Accountant Success Formula model, and this is what I learned, is after the first 18 years of doing the traditional way, billing by the hour, banging out as many tax returns as I could.
Yes.
The second 8 years, I went, you know what? I'm changing the model. I got to find a way for my clients to learn, for me to learn more about them, for them to want to talk to me more, and for me to actually help them build the life they want for themselves, not just do their tax return. And so I tested and tried, and I became an entrepreneur basically. And I tested and tried a bunch of different methodologies. I got a lot of scars on my back. I've blazed a trail. I kind of say to my coaching clients, I said, I lead, guide, and protect you through this process now because I've been there, I've done it, And so what happens is that once you, and so what you do is you change your model over.
Absolutely.
You get your freedom back. And so for me, it was about changing the model and going, how can I get them more access? Well, I changed from billing by the hour to a subscription-based value pricing model. It was a monthly amount that the client would pay me, but they could get unlimited access to contact me whenever they wanted. And inside that model, I built into it that I would get to learn about what I call the 4 planning pillars.
Ooh.
Okay. And the 4 planning pillars is a simple kind of conceptual model of how people are trying to build the life they want for themselves. And which is, it's in the book, it's on my website. There's lots of resources on this. And so if you think about it this way, Kary, when you build a house, it's got a roof.
Yep.
And then if it's a simple house, there's 4 pillars that are holding up that roof. And so if you consider your house like your life, you're trying to build it. What are those 4 pillars that's holding up the roof for a business owner? It would be their business, their wealth, their retirement, and then their estate. Those are the 4 ways of thinking about that. So if the business plan is in alignment, and it has to be in alignment with the other pillars, because if they're not, the house isn't going to be solid. So I kind of liken this to, most business owners have an accountant, they got a lawyer, they got a financial advisor, they got a banker, they got an insurance person. I mean, it goes on and on, right? So, and they're all working in these different pillars, all working on the same house, all doing different things. The lawyer's doing it, what they think the client, the accountant's doing this, the financial advisor's doing that. Can you imagine what a house would look like?
Wow.
If you built it with an electrician, a plumber, and a roofer, all just doing it based on the plans they think it should look like, the house would look like a mess.
Wow. Yes.
A total mess. Well, instead, shouldn't the accountant understand what the overall plan is and then decide whether or not what the accountant's doing, is it in alignment with what the lawyer's doing? Is it in alignment with what the banker's doing? Is it in alignment with the financial planner's doing? And so when you think about these 4 planning pillars, I go in and I show accountants how to actually find out what those plans are, work with, now here's the big key, work with the other financial advisors, with the other bankers, with the lawyers to say, are we all in alignment here with building the life that Kary wants for himself? Like you mentioned before that your CPA was working with the financial planner, and that's music to my ears, man. Like that's fantastic. So, so for me though, once I changed the billing model over and I built in enough profit on the subscription model, I was able to work with the clients on the 4 planning pillars.
I like this. Yeah.
And then what happened was I could start helping the client build the life they wanted for themselves. So once you're helping the client build the life they want for themselves, they are happy to pay you more. They're happy to, because the value is higher.
Absolutely.
Way higher value. And so what happened was that I ended up now working a single hour of overtime in my practice. My clients loved to pay me more money, and I had cash flow coming in all the day. So I had the 3 freedoms. And that's what the success formula is for the account. So it helps the business owner and it helps the accountant.
I totally see how that works. In other words, if the metric is how many tax returns can you bang out in your example, you don't even lift your eyes to think about, I got time for you. You're just like, I got to do the next one. I got to do the next one. But you're saying really that you work deeper with the clients, but not wider. You don't have as many perhaps. But the ones that you do, you probably, would you agree that you probably feel even more like a hero? I mean, if you're helping me 10x my business rather than just incremental, you're probably like, dude, I have a ton of value. What do you think?
Oh, totally. And so, and I love that, who's the target hero? Who's, again, a Dan Sullivanism, who are we trying to be the hero to? And so for me, it was the business owner, but it wasn't so much. And here's a clarifying point. And a lot of accountants have said this to me. Well, they're like, Eric, I don't know how to 10x the business. I don't know how to 10x the wealth. I don't know how to 10x the retirement. I know how to do estate planning, but I don't know these other things. And I said, you don't have to know how to do those things. And again, we're gonna bring up more Dan here than anything else. Right. There's the who. The who is the financial planner, and they're building the wealth over here. But the accountant, if they can understand what the plan is, they can make a decision and go, we've got the business structure wrong over here. It needs to be moved, and we need to set up a holding company or a family trust, or we need to do this so that money that's spinning out is building the wealth properly for the financial advisor and building an estate or building real estate over here or whatever. And working with the business, say there's a business coach. The business coach wants to grow the business. Then how much cash flow and what capital do you need in the business? So the accountant doesn't have to be the specialist in all things. And that's where most accountants get caught. They go, but I don't know how to do all that stuff, Eric. Yeah. And I know, neither do I, but I don't have to. I just want to be the quarterback. I just want to be the one that helps build the actual blueprint. So I understand where it's at, work with the other specialists, the other who's, so that the client is 10xing their life. They're not 10xing, they might 10x their business, might 10x their wealth, might 10x their retirement. That's great. But it's their life they're trying to build for themselves, right? And so that's what the clients that I worked with at a deeper level, they were like, Eric is my first go-to. If I got a question, I pick up the phone, I call Eric. And so that's what my coaching clients are finding too. The clients are like, I called a CPA right away. Now, there's another side. Most CPAs would scream at the thought of their clients calling them that much.
Right.
Because, I don't have time for that. Well, this is the wonderful part. When you change your model, you have time.
Mm.
So you get more free time. So you want your clients to call you, because if your clients are calling you, you have more opportunities for special projects, which you can then price, and then you make even more profit, and the clients are even happier.
So good. That's
Yeah.
so good. I mean, it's like the CPA pays for themselves. Like, this is where you want to get, and I'm sure this is where you teach you have courses, you have all kinds of great stuff we're going to show in a moment. But if I think of my CPA, and instead of thinking, man, they charge a lot of money, I don't want to talk to them,
Yeah.
except for once a year. That's the wrong thinking for me. If instead it's like, ooh, last time I talked to Mike or Stephanie, they saved me $5,000. Sure, I wrote a check for 500 or 1,000, but they just earned me money. Now I want to talk to them, and
Yeah.
you want to talk to me.
Yeah. But here's the interesting thing. The most important thing to a business owner is return on investment.
Yes.
Okay. So what is the cost and what is the benefit? So it's always a ROI. It's all, what's the value? Here's the value and here's the price. Well, and there's an ROI. I'll do it. But with a billable hour model, you don't know if there's ROI. You don't know, because you don't know how long it's going to take the accountant to get the work done. And you're not sure what the value is, because the accountant never talks to you about what the value is going to be at the end of the transaction. And most accountants are like, well, I can't guarantee that they're going to make their money back. And here is the gem. This is the gem. If anybody gets anything out of this, here's the absolute gem. Okay. It's not always about the money. It's about the transformation for the person. It could be the fact that they now can go to sleep at night knowing that their plan is getting them to where they want to go. That is what I call the MasterCard moment. That's priceless. Clients will pay top dollar to be able to go to bed and sleep at night.
Yes.
You don't have to show them that, oh, well, you pay me $1,000 and you save 10. Well, we can't always do that. But if I have this plan, and you're going to be able to go to sleep at night knowing that the work you're doing in your business is contributing to your wealth, which is then going to get you to retirement at age 65 or 70, if that's what you want to do. And you know that when you do leave this planet, because we all do, it's going to go to your kids and this charity and the rest of that. They can go to sleep at night. They're like, oh my gosh. And that to them is probably worth 100,000, not 1,000. That's $100,000.
Yeah.
So if you're delivering $100,000 worth of value, should you be charging them $500 for that 1 hour?
It's like there's a story about Picasso being in a. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I use the story all the time.
Oh my gosh! Do you want me to tell it, or you want?
Wait, no, you tell it. I don't want to hear you tell it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the story goes that Picasso is at a French cafe, and someone recognizes him and says, "Oh my gosh, it's Picasso. Like, can you draw a portrait of me just really quick?"
Yeah.
And he says, absolutely. So he quickly sketches on a napkin this amazing portrait. And the woman takes it and it's like, oh my gosh, you've captured me. This is amazing. How much do I owe you? And he's like, 15,000 francs. And she's like, what? That took you 5 minutes. Like, what the heck? Why do I have to pay you so much? And he's like, that's where you're mistaken. It didn't take me 5 minutes. It's taken me 50 years.
Yes.
And you're not paying me for the 5 minutes. You're paying me for the 50 years.
Exactly.
And that's a CPA. That's my profession. That's your profession, correct?
Yes, exactly. And so what becomes really interesting in this dilemma, and so what I have in the book, and the audio book, and in the regular book, and specifically in the coaching program, is showing accountants how to have the right client conversation. Because there's a 4-letter word for accountants. It's called sell. Okay, that's a 4-letter word to an accountant. We don't want to be salespeople, right? We're professionals. We don't want to sell. So they get, you have selling, and you have a sales program and the rest of that. But we talk about a client conversation. How do you have the right client conversation so that they see the value, and then you can price it, which is an art and a science. And so in my program, and in what I share with accountants, and I openly share it, I'm like, please just use this, is that they find a way to actually get the client to create the value through the conversation. So the client will actually go, oh my God, it's worth it. This is amazing. And then they price it to here. And so what they end up getting is 5, 10, 15 times what they ever would have gotten through a billable hour model. And so what happens is that Picasso, which maybe takes them 5 minutes to come up with, is actually worth 100,000, or it's worth 50,000 in this case to the client. But they see the value. But you see what happened with Picasso there in that story, he actually billed them after the fact. That's why the person was so price sensitive. If in Picasso had done in the front end of the conversation had gone, the one goes, "Oh, could you please do a painting for?" And Picasso goes, "No problem." And he goes, "It'll be 50,000 francs." She goes, "Oh my God, Picasso for 50,000. Yeah, here, you bet."
Interesting.
And Picasso went back, boom, and then he wrote it up, and then he watched her, he looked at her, and he talked to her through the whole process. And, "Oh yeah, it looks lovely." And then he turned it around and he showed it to her. She'd be like, "Oh my God, I got a Picasso."
Yes.
She's going away happy.
Wow. It's timing. It's timing. He should have shared on the front end.
Well, yeah, but you have to be able to talk and understand what the value. But you see, the client could have decided. She could have decided before he even started whether or not she wanted to do that. But she agreed ahead of time because she saw the value. I get a Picasso for 50,000. I'm all over that. But when you build them after the fact, all of a sudden they become price sensitive because now you've delivered the product and now they get charged after the fact. It's all psychological.
That's so good. That is so good.
Yeah,
it's true though. It's absolutely true. I'm not even going to go there because we got 5 minutes left. I want to get to your course. So
yeah.
we've been sharing some links here. I want to go right to a couple things. One is you have this masterclass where people are literally everybody getting a free gift. What is this?
Yeah, this is my free masterclass. So it's a 4-part video series, which basically goes through the accountant success formula model. So I call it the ASF masterclass, the accountant success formula masterclass. It's totally free. You go on, you click on it. It's typical one. You give me your email address, and then you get through, and you'll get through the free masterclass. And then at the end, and here's the thing, accountants don't like to be sold. They don't like to sell. At the end of the masterclass, for all listeners, there's an offer for the online course. Okay? You know that ahead of time. It's at the end. So just so it's not like a bait and switch, because I'm very open and front, say there's an offer for the masterclass at the end. And within the masterclass as well, there's an offer to potentially work with me one-on-one as well.
Love it. Totally.
Free. And then if you're on there, you'll get on my email list, and I do success tips videos once a week, totally free. You get it right to your inbox, and all based on CPAs and a CPA firm from a CPA who's worked in a CPA firm in the profession. I've been in this for now, oh gosh, I was thinking about that. I guess we're 33 years now, Kary.
Wow.
It's been 33 years for me. Yeah. I've been in the accounting profession and worked with like over 1,000 business owners and CPA firms.
It's so good. So tell me about this. I come to your site.
Yeah.
What should I click on if I want to be part of the program? How do I become a member? These types of things.
Well, and in any of the signups, you can get free PDFs, and you're instantly in my, so I'll call it my email list, and you'll get free resources. It's all throughout that. If you want to reach out to me, you can click on the link called programs, and the programs will bring you to the 3 levels of programs that I have. I have an online course, which is call it your DIY, do it yourself model. Right. And it's offered at the end of the free accountant success formula masterclass. There's a one-on-one coaching, premier coaching that I do. And then there's also what I call the partner program. And that's for bigger accounting firms that are looking to have me come in and work with them more deeply at a higher level. And again, there's links there. You just reach out and have a conversation with me. I'm always open for a conversation to see if we're a fit to work together. And ultimately, this program is for accountants that are frustrated or transformative. Right. They're frustrated because they believe that they deserve more from their profession, like I do. I believe accountants are overworked and undervalued, and I'm out to change that. For those that want it, I want to be able to give it to them. And the freedom that the accountants get now and the clients that they serve, impacted beyond compare. But it's a freedom model. But again, most CPAs aren't shown the love. I am a CPA, so I want to show them as much love as I possibly can.
Folks, website is ericsolbachencpa.com. The book is The Accountant Success Formula. First time ever out in audio. Amazing interview, bonuses. You got to check it out. You got to listen. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to Stephanie and Mike, my CPA, and I'm going to say, look, I want to pay more. Um, I want you to create more value. And they're great. Like I said, I wouldn't be talking to them a dozen times in the last 3 weeks. But what's next, Eric? I know that you're in, I think, Canada right now.
Yeah.
You got big things going on. Give us 60 seconds. What's next for Eric?
Well, yeah. So right now I'm actually at Glen Abbey Golf Course. If anybody's a golfer out there, if they ever seen one of Tiger Woods' probably 4 top shots he's ever made was right outside this window. So
Oh my
it's dark now, but the 18th green is right here, one of the top shots that he's ever made. We're here putting on a presentation for some business owners. Like I said, I'm carving off a piece of the accountant success formula called the 4 planning pillars, showing the dentist what this is and the thought process. And then they're going to want to go and work with the CPA that I'm going to have at this event. So I'm looking to do that for them. But ultimately, what I'm looking to do is to impact as many CPAs as I can across Canada and the United States. I coach CPAs in Canada and US because I don't teach tax. That's your job. You know that. I don't teach, financial planning. That's your job. We know how to do that stuff. But it's the business model. Business model is universal. So the problem is the business model, and the solution is updating it.
So good. Folks, tag your accountant, tag your CPA if you are one. Share this with your friends. Eric, it's been awesome working with you. Can't wait to chat in January. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and thank you for adding so much value today.
And thank you again, Kary. This is fantastic. I'm looking forward for everybody to get that audiobook in their hands. That's thanks to you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Take care. We'll see you, everybody.
Okay, thanks.